Living Local presents Biz Buzz 413 with your host, Jill Monson.
And before we get started with today's episode of Biz Buzz 413, a couple quick thank you shout outs. Tiger Web Designs, thanks for making us look awesome on the World Wide Web. A thank you to my company, Pop More, confidence coaching and training done differently. And of course, a huge thank you to livinglocal413.org. Welcome to Biz Buzz 413. I'm your host, Jill Monson, and this show is part of Living Local 413's initiative founded by local entrepreneur Bill Cole. Every episode, we spotlight the voices all across Western Mass, Hamden, Hampshire, Franklin, and it's crazy, but Berkshire County. Yes, they're part of 413, and we love them. We talk to everyone, everywhere about everything, and it's no different today. I do want to thank first, before I introduce you to my guest, our new groundbreaker sponsor, Home City Development. Thank you so much. The crowd goes wild. All right. I can't believe I actually got you on the show because you are one of the busiest humans I know. Please help me welcome from Rock 102, from the Bax and Nagle morning show, I gonna call you a dear friend, my good friend Bax. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me on. And congratulations on your new sponsor.
Thank you. Yes. Being in radio as long as you've been in the business, a sponsor is critical. And I will put the entire list of the Mayflower Marathon sponsors in the body, but we're not going to share them all because it would be our whole 20 minutes. You guys have so many amazing sponsors. It's awesome.
It's grown so much in the last 30 years as far as sponsors and who gets involved and how many local businesses even just volunteer, not even looking for airtime, but they just get involved because it has grown, well beyond just a dumb little radio thing. It's a full blown, community event, which is fantastic. That's exactly what I want.
So you're here for a reason, and not just because you and I could probably talk about anything any day, but I wanted you to come on specifically this year because many milestone for you for my Mayflower Marathon, but also because of the world and what's been going on in the country and how it's affecting, food insecurity and our neighbors. But let's start with, for those who don't know, you've been living under a rock. I don't know what you've been doing, but Mayflower Marathon, officially 30 years?
Actually, probably more like 32. This will be my 31st.
Oh,
yes.
You are old. I mean, did I?
No, I know. You're not telling me something I don't already know. Yes, you're right. I am old, but this went on. See, the part we can't remember whether it was started in 94 or 93.
It was
we think it was 94, right? And I got here in 95, so
okay.
I've only really missed one. So,
all right.
So this is my 31st.
Yeah. You too many drugs back in the days. We all did. And nobody ever took good records. We never thought, I don't think, and I say we, because I was a part of it for a little while back in the day when I worked at Rock 102, but I don't think anyone truly thought back that, like you said, this was going to turn into what it did. So tell people that are the proverbial live under the rock people, which I don't know anybody who actually lives under a rock, but we always say that. What is Mayflower Marathon?
Well, in short, the Mayflower Marathon is the largest food drive of its kind in New England.
Wow.
And it is a 52-hour-long broadcast, which begins on Monday at 6 a.m. on the 24th and extends to Wednesday at 10 a.m. the 26th. And the whole idea is to fill as many, 50-foot moving vans full of non-perishable foods for the Springfield Open Pantry. We also take cash donations and online donations. And this thing has grown significantly, and especially in the last few years when food insecurity has risen so dramatically. Well, I'm sure more about that, but this started off early on in the 90s where we would fill one truck.
Yep.
And we thought we were very, very impressive by doing that. But it's grown every couple of years where it's one truck, then two, then three. Well, last year we filled 6 trucks.
6?
And it was over 237,000. 6. So last year was over 237,000 raised for the open pantry. But here's the thing. Take the inflation part about it.
Right.
And even in the old days, where we were doing 2 trucks, that food would be enough to fill their shelves until March, and sometimes April.
Okay.
Because of the demand, they went through all 6 of those trucks by February.
Wow.
That's how significant the increase in demand has been. So this may actually be the most important Mayflower Marathon we've ever done.
Right, because I'm thinking like, okay, so last year, 6 trucks only through February in terms of usage, because of the demand. But now, I mean, just recently, finally, our government got their proverbial, I guess I can say shit because we're a podcast. We're not on the radio.
You can say that.
Yeah, the proverbial shit together.
It's your show.
It's my show. I just got fired, but that's okay. No, but I mean, and I don't care, left, right, purple, and right in the middle, whatever you are, we finally got our government to figure it out and for at least now reopen. And that's great, except that so much damage had been done, especially to programs like SNAP and the programs for the low income individuals. And so last year, it only lasted until February. And that was before this happened. So now we have all these extra people suffering. I can't imagine. I think you're absolutely right, Bax. This could be the most important.
Okay, so well, look at it this way. So food insecurity throughout the state is at an all-time high.
Right.
But in Hampden County, the percentage of people who are food insecure is higher than anywhere else in the state of Massachusetts.
Are you kidding me? Whoa.
It's 54% of people in Hampden County.
Oh my gosh.
Are fighting some level of food insecurity. Now that can mean any number of things, and it's different levels, of course. But of all the counties in the state, it's us and then Bristol County are the two counties that are struggling the most. Now, if you consider that number, and then you consider that during the government shutdown or prior to the government shutdown, 50% of the people in Springfield were taking advantage of SNAP benefits.
Holy
so try to think about that. So during that period where the government was shut down, and of course, it's going to take some time before people get out of that, out of that hole that they were forced into. It's going to take some time. So those numbers are not changing. Those numbers have not been getting better. We had Nicole Lucier, the executive director from a Open Pantry, on the show last week. And what she was saying is in the month of October, they fed 4,000 people. On a normal October, they would feed about 1,500. That's
the thing. Like when you say 4,000, people are like, what is that comparison to? But that's more than 3 times. I mean, I suck at math, but that's like a lot of people. Oh. It
is beyond the point of it is beyond the point of a crisis. And the problem is that people don't really think about what this means. I mean, we're not just talking about a homeless population.
Right. This is regular people.
Exactly. This is regular people who, for whatever reason, they may be employed, they may be well employed, but for any number of reasons, financially speaking, they're put in a position where they have to make tough choices. Like, do I put on my heat this month or do I feed my children? Do I get the medication for my mom who I've had to take in because she's elderly and sick, or do I put food on the table for my children? It's like, these are the real life things that lead up to food insecurity. And the problem that some people have trying to understand this is if you're suffering from these kinds of situations, it's not like you're forecasting to everybody, hey, I'm food insecure. I can't pay my mortgage this month, or I can't afford my medication. People don't know. They kind of live this situation in silence. But the numbers don't lie.
What's so interesting, you said the thing about like the heat, right? So I own a historic home, my wife and I, as people have heard, in Springfield, and it was built in 18 some god early year, and we heat with gas. Our gas bill on a budget, Bax, used to be $441 a month on a budget. It is now $700 and something a month on a budget.
Right.
So that idea, like, and I am very blessed that I have not had to, I've had to alter my own budget and my own food budget, but I haven't had to rely on a service as of yet. But
sure,
when numbers look like that, especially if you're paycheck to paycheck, right now it's not a somebody else problem anymore. It's literally, it can be you, but it also could be your neighbor or your sibling. And I think we forget that piece, that it's, like you said, you're not walking around like with a crutch that somebody can see the physicality of it.
No.
And by the time they can, it's way too late. So, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned earlier about, people can make online donations. And so everybody knows, I'll put this in the thing after, but the website is rock102.com/Mayflower-marathon, or just go to rock102.com. But they can make an online monetary donation if they can't get there Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
That's correct. And in fact, the that link will probably be up through that whole weekend after Thanksgiving as well. So we don't just shut it off on that Wednesday.
Okay.
It'll stay open for a few more days. So if people can't, for whatever reason, make a donation before Thanksgiving, they'll have the opportunity to do so for a few days after.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about, so I read a post, and this was during the period of the government shutdown. So people were posting a lot of opinion and rhetoric online of either side of the aisle, right? But somebody that I know posted, and it was a repost of the idea of when there's a food drive and what that looks like, and to be a little bit, if you can, be a little bit more thoughtful in what you give. And so if you can give money, I think that's always the best, because they talk about it. The open pantry can buy in wholesale and spread it further. But if you're going to give food items, and this post said, and it made sense to me, it was like, if you give a bunch of macaroni and cheese, maybe give some powdered milk,
right? Because
they might not have fresh milk. Right. Or if you give a bunch of cans, maybe go over to the dollar store and purchase a couple can openers and throw them in the box. So from your perspective and from talking with the team at the open pantry, is there anything that they recommend so that we can give what is really kind of most needed?
So, I mean, that's hard, because, I mean, every family's needs are different. There may be different, dietary restrictions that people have. I mean, those are all good ideas. But I think in terms of what people need in emergency situations, I think they're happy with, whatever you can give.
Okay.
Something that may not require, a whole hell of a lot of preparation. If it's pasta, if it's rice, if it's, things that are not necessarily going to go bad on a shelf, or, that it'll take a while before there's any level of expiration. I think that's fine. Like you said, I mean, cash donations will certainly go further than food donations. But, when people go, they're hoping to get, a bag of food or 2 bags of food or whatever it's going to take to feed their family for a couple of days.
Right. Well, and I think what you said, like being careful too, and I never even thought of this till when I was at Mayflower Marathon one year, is, you can pull stuff from your cabinets and that's great, but please check the expiration dates, because you don't want to be donating food that has, since been gone. Like, my dad passed away and we had cans in there from 1957. So don't do that.
No, please don't. Please don't. I mean, if you're not willing to eat it, nobody else should either. So how about that?
So that's a perfect thing. So all of this is the very important part, and I'm glad but I have to ask the question that, the listener of the podcast and definitely listeners of your show always wonder, which is, where the heck do you and Steve, like, what happens for the 52 hours? Where you don't bathe? Do you smell? Like, where do you eat? Where do you go? What happens? Because 52 hours, if you don't know, that's a lot of time. And, so what's the inner workings of the magic behind Mayflower Marathon?
Well, so we are located at MGM by the South End Marketplace. So if you go into the parking garage area, the entrance to the parking garage, we are right there as you turn towards State Street. So that's where we're located now. It's a perfect situation and it's great. We're out there through most of the day and broadcasting for most of the day. So we have like a small, RV, which we kind of use as like an on-site studio.
Yep.
When we are not on the air, we're often outside, helping people, talking to people, accepting donations, sometimes organizing the trucks, depending on, the time of day and what kind of volunteers we have at a particular time. After 10 o'clock, we do 1 break per hour, but we are the most busy.
Yes, you are. That is his truth. I've been there. Yes.
During the morning show, it's kind of hard to sometimes get out of the RV because, it's such a regimented, format of for that show. Once, like 9:30, 10 o'clock rolls around, well, then that's where all the meeting and greeting happens, especially like when the school challenge starts and, kids are coming or, teachers are there. You want to say hi. They want pictures taken. It's a really intense couple of days. It's really, really intense. So
I've watched it happen in real time. And I do want to say, this is a PSA. You didn't ask me to say this, but I'm saying this for you and Steve. Please remember that Bax and Steve love you and that they want to come say hi and they want to take the selfie with you, but they're also doing a jog. And so it's really, I always feel bad because it's like people are like trying to grab you and you're like, I'm interviewing someone or I'm in the middle, like, so be patient because as soon as they're available, they'll take the selfie with you. But
which is kind of why we do most of the interviews in the RV, just because, I mean, for exactly that, people don't necessarily realize that we're on the air talking to somebody because we may be standing there in silence, but that's because we're listening to the answer of the person we're talking to. So it's sometimes better to just do it in the RV, and then when it's done, then we go out and we start commiserating with everybody that's coming by.
The best is always too, like, you never know what you're going to get for weather. Like, you would think that after 30 plus years of doing this, there'd be some predictability. And I mean, when I remember one year, and my brother, who's now, I don't even know his real title, he's the big cheese of sales at Rock 102. So
that's not his actual title.
No, it should be.
There is no cheese.
No. We should. Well, you're a cheese head, so we should anyway.
Right.
So, by the way, did you know I went to Lambeau? Did I tell you?
I did know that. I did know that.
It was like my wife is a Green Bay fan like Bax. It was a big trip for us. It was fun. Anyway, but Scott and I, this was years and years ago. I was marketing and he was the road crew, and we were setting up Mayflower Marathon, and it was some kind of rain that I've never seen. And it was, it was like raining sideways. And some of our old friends, we won't mention them all, but our old bosses were there. And, we were trying and it was the tent is like blowing. So you never know what you're going to get. So we can't even predict now on Thursday what Monday, like they can tell us what the weather is going to be, but we all know 50% of the time it's right and 50% it's wrong. So
we've had every possible calamity you can think of. We've had everything from electrical problems to snowstorms that were not predicted. Like you said, monsoons. We've had everything. There's nothing that we have not yet experienced. I say that, and there'll be something.
I can't wait. Don't say that. Don't,
yeah, I don't want.
Knock on wood. We're
knocking
knocking.
on wood that won't happen. It'll go off problem free. But
you have some interviews
we've seen
coming
everything.
up. Who do you have planned this year that people are going to be excited to hear?
Well, it's mostly a lot of the regulars this year.
The regulars, cool.
We'll have comedian Bob Marley. We'll have comedian Paul Mercurio, our friend Marty Caproni, a local comedian, will be a part of the broadcast. One of the things that we did talk very seriously about is because of the situation we're in right now.
Yeah.
That it does kind of make a little bit more sense to be more focused on the food drive rather than just the interviews and who are coming up.
Entertainment piece,
right. It's not to say we won't have. Excuse me. It's not to say we won't have interviews along the way. We certainly will. But I mean, the importance here really is about the food drive aspect of it. And so I think we're going to be focused a little bit more on that this year than maybe we have in years past. Just simply because there's a greater necessity for it.
Oh, and I think it's important too, because, unfortunately, sometimes you guys get a bad rap where it's like, oh, Bax and Nagle, they're just like, they're, goofballs and, they're smart Alex and this and the next thing. And it's, you have, a lot of fun on the show. You have a lot of wit and charm and all, but you also, and I know this personally, you and Steve are two of the nicest, kindest humans I know. You're both fathers, you're both, husbands, and I think community is so important that I'm glad you're going to step back a little from all of the humor and do what you guys also can do, which is really drive home a mission and make it successful. So I'm glad to hear that. And I'm proud of you.
Well, awesome. I think this is like I said, this being maybe the most important one we've done. It may require more effort to sell the reason why we're there than ever before. And I've told this story before. Well, I mean, this is the greatest event the station does and ever has done. And I've told this story before. The reason that I really became so passionate about the Mayflower Marathon goes back to like the first couple of years that we did it. Mm-hmm. And that was back at the old Hall of Fame behind the building, back when we were just doing one truck. And there were a couple of volunteers from the open pantry. And they were both people that had serious struggles in their lives. And their names were David and Susie. And they are no longer in the area. In fact, I sadly don't know what became of either one of them. But what I will tell you this, there was a lot of downtime back then, and I had the chance to speak to them, about, the open pantry and, about their lives and, some of the things that they had been involved in. And like I said, both of them had very, very difficult lives. And one of the things that they both said, and this is really important to keep in mind when you're thinking about, whether or not you want to donate. Both of these people said that had it not been for the open pantry, they're not sure that they would have survived, not just because of the food, but because there was something very special to them about the charitable nature of the people that donated. Like, it gave them a sense of hope at a time in their lives when hope was at a real premium. And and those conversations, I still get a little, a little worked up over, because, when you see that in the face and you're really learning this for the very first time, you start to understand, hey, wait a minute, I'm not just putting food on a truck.
Yep.
I'm not just telling people how to do that, because my feeling is all I'm doing is telling people where to go. The people that are donating are the real heroes here. But what they don't necessarily understand is that action of donating to the open pantry, whether it's to the Mayflower Marathon or any other time of the year, is incredibly powerful for someone who was going there and saying, I need help, and they're getting it.
Thank you for reminding. I have heard you share that, and I'm, for David and Susie, wherever you are, maybe somehow, some way, things make it to you, and just know that blessing exists. I think we'll end it on that, because I want you to give the details, but I don't think there's any other better way to say it, Bax, than now more than ever. If you have the ability, this is your chance to give hope to a neighbor, a friend, and who knows if that hope will need to be returned to you someday. So what's the scoop? Where do they go? How do they participate? When do they come see you? All the good details. Give it to us.
All right. So it starts Monday at 6 a.m., the 24th, ends on Wednesday, the 26th at 10 a.m. So it's 52 hours. We're at we're at the South End Market area of MGM Springfield. You take East Columbus Avenue, you turn into a Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame. Excuse me about that. You don't go there. You go to MGM Way, come around, exit on State Street. You can't come in State Street. That'll be blocked off.
Okay.
To MGM. And it's really, really simple. The way the setup goes, it's really easy to manage. And again, you can also go to rock102.com if you can't get there physically. And if you can't participate in the Mayflower Marathon, they need your help year-round. So keep that in mind, too. So if you can't get it done next week, there's plenty of time all year long to help them out.
Bax, I love that. I'll say happy Thanksgiving to you now, but I'll be down there. I always do my darndest to get down there, usually on Wednesday morning, because it feels like tradition, and scan a few items myself when I'm there. So thank you to Steve, to Rock 102, to all of your sponsors who we said the list is too long, but I will put in the podcast body of the message if I can figure out how to do it, because tech is still confusing to me. So thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, Jill.
It's Biz Buzz 413, and I am Jill Monson. I want to thank Home City Development. They have been building better neighborhoods since 1967. They're based right here in Hampton County out of Springfield, Mass. Home City believes everyone deserves a quality home, because when people have a place to call home, communities thrive. Don't forget, if you have suggestions, email me, bizbuzz@livinglocal413.org. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, remember, you are blessed to live in the most fabulous part of the country, the 413.
Biz Buzz 413 was brought to you by Living Local.